Okay, good morning, Abimbola, Junaid. Thank you for joining us this morning on the program.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so we're going to broadcast it in the afternoon, so it's best to just say good afternoon and or you respond. Yeah,
Okay.
just thank you for having me. It's fine. All right, just say thank you for having me or something.
Oh, thank you for having me.
It
Thank you
was
for having
breaking.
me. Thank
Sure,
you for
thanks
having
for
me.
exactly. Thanks. Exactly. That's how production goes. All right, so let me just
Yeah.
ask, just from last week, the question I asked you was, what the implications are, of the bill not going through, not seeing the light of the day at the Senate.
Yes. It basically, I mean, it's just going to set back of the good works that various stakeholders in trying to um, stop all forms of violence against women. It would really be an indictment on their efforts, really. If you notice, several states in the country are coming up with their own state domestic violence law, which is a zero tolerance. I know of Lagos State for one. And a lot of people are adhering to the new law and coming out more. Not that it has increased, but it's the proportion of reporting of violence against women that has increased because in the past it was compared to nothing. So, what this gender equality bill that's been drawn out, what it would mean to victims would be I really don't have a voice, really. At the end of the day, my perpetrator could get away with it. After all, I do not have any human rights in Nigeria. And I think that the Senate needs to think further than just the few excuses that the distinguished senators actually passed in dismissing the bill so rapidly. They haven't thought about the larger consequences in terms of where we are on the global stage. It's 2016, for God's sake. Many more countries are adhering to equality, even though it isn't perfect. They're working towards ensuring there's equality. They're changing the legislations around that. We have signed various treaties across the world. The UN conventions are there. The CEDAW law is there. And most recently is the SDGs, which Goal 5 is about gender equality. And Nigeria did sign up to that. So I think that it doesn't look good on the country's image, and it is reinforcing that women don't have rights and that they can be victims of crime or of violence by perpetrators.
All right. You made mention of other countries like signing these bills. Which of these countries would you say women are doing better than the ones we have here, like that have adopted this bill, and have implemented it, and you feel they are doing better than women here in Nigeria?
Yes, the Scandinavian countries, like I said, are really doing well in terms of, it goes back to when there was the general fight, I would say, by women in the United States asking and demanding for their rights after working in a factory shop. And that was what brought about the very first gathering of International Women's Day. And then after, Denmark as a country also had its own national protest by its women. And after that, the legislation of that country changed to support women and men. And in the very recent times, we now realize that they're actually becoming trained in terms of parental leave to look after children at home, which means that they are not um, totally saying it is only the woman's right that should be entitled to leave. It's going to be about which of the parents can the school get first if the child is running hot. Which of the parents can actually be flexible for that day, and the workplaces where they are wouldn't say, why don't you call your wife or why don't you call your husband? It would be seen as part of their rights to take that leave at work. And I think that only emphasizes on the fact that the family unit is the most important in any nation. They understand what it means for a child to see both parents being hands on in care. And I think that is one of the things we should emulate. Another thing I want to emphasize is that even our neighbor, like Ghana, like Rwanda, Rwanda's case, yes, a lot of people would say it's because of the genocide that took place there, and that many of the men were indicted. So, with the leadership of only the women stepping up today, we have more women in parliament. But it isn't only about the quota in the parliament that we should actually look out for. Let's look at where the country is on the radar of the international development in terms of the country's chances of growth, in terms of their GDP. So for me, I don't think that actually throwing out the old bill, if there are parts of the bill that is quite sentimental, then we could look at it and definitely negotiate it. But throwing the old bill out is like throwing the bathwater out with the baby in it. And I don't think that's the way forward for our nation.
Okay, now you're talking about negotiating some of the parts of the bill that might be sentimental or thereabout. But the Senate President is now saying that the bill should be, he's advising Nigerian women to reintroduce the bill, into the Senate. So, what do you think civil society groups or organizations and even feminists should be doing at this time, since there is that call already by the Senate President for them to bring back this bill to the Senate?
Yes, I think that it goes beyond just reintroducing the bill. Farms should actually be begged for. More advocacy needs to be put in place. And I'm very pleased, and I also would use this opportunity to say a very big thank you to the very sensitive men out there that have actually shown their displeasure at the Senate about this bill. Many are so upset with the way it was dismissed under seconds. Many are also judging that where are we in terms of human rights development if without strong reasons they could just throw it out based on the same old culture, the same old religion. And at times, so when you see more men being men for women, out to say that this quota needs to change. And also, let's go back in history. We need to actually do a lot of training because you remember there was a time in this country where twins were actually killed, and we've gone past that now. And today, many twins are actually thriving and doing very well in our society. And also, we need to look at the fact that the issue of dowry is also reducing. A lot of families now wouldn't even accept any dowry on a girl child or in marriages anymore. And that is also a good sign as to where we are in terms of development. Then let's also liken this to the fact that it is about human rights. It's not tribalism, sexism. It's the same as, all kinds of other forms of discrimination. It is simply saying a set of gender should dominate the others just because they feel they are more superior. But if we've ever found women as engineers, women as pilots, women as doctors, women as scientists, women in government, it shows you that it goes beyond the human nature. So why are we holding ourselves back? So I think a lot of enlightenment would also be very good. And lastly, I think what the Senate members also need to understand is this is not about the advocates. It is not about the civil society. It is about their own children, their own sisters, their own brothers, their own daughters, wherever they are, that one day they may not be able to protect. And this legislation would definitely protect their rights. For example, one of the things in the law is demanding that women should be able to take be in charge away the property and being custodians of the children. In this day and age, nobody would like to take care of another family member. So why not protect your family and let your immediate family be the beneficiary of your hard work? Why would you leave that to an extended family that could decide to name the future of your children? So it is common sense in some direction as well. And they are also having daughters. We are still waiting for the Chibok girls to come back home. There's increase in abduction of girls in the society. That is not showing a Senate that is quite sensitive. and down to earth with the feelings of women. These were the same women that campaigned rigorously for them. So for me, I think it goes beyond just being sentimental and not wanting to dialogue further or spread the impact of saying no to this bill. So on the long run, I think the Senate should please these legislators, that it simply means they're producing laws that will make the society a better place for all, a leveraging society for all, and that means the rights of women is also the rights of human beings. We are human beings. We've contributed to the development of this country, and that should be acknowledged.
All right, Abimbola, thank you very much. But also joining us is Ben Cosmos, is calling from Malaysia. Ben, you're going to add a male voice to this campaign. Let's just hear what you think about this bill. It's been thrown out by the Senate, but the Senate President is saying that it can be reintroduced. What do you make of it, and how soon do you think you would want to see this being reintroduced into the House?
I think that bill should be reintroduced. Actually, I'm in support of that, and it's a good news because I believe that every girl child in Nigeria should have an equal opportunity, good education, healthcare system, should be given the opportunity to develop their skills, and they should not be subjected to child slavery into early marriages. But it's so unfortunate that what happened last time happened, and I think this is not the first time. The same Senator Yerima, the same person who supported the child marriage, is still the same person talking. And of course, during the last Senate, we saw what happened when even David Mark said he was blackmailed, in passing the bill. When I don't know what came over them, some of the senators were regretting after signing that bill into law. I think we'll need to, at this point in time, we all need to stand up and talk. It's not something that should be limited on the floor house of the Senate alone. Every organization, human rights activist, everybody needs to put hands on deck, because if we leave this thing to continue, it will put us in a very bad shape. It will put us in a bad spot. Even if you look at what United Nations is talking about, UNICEF and the rest of them, I mean, it's not really portraying a good image of our country concerning maybe early marriage on the part of the girl child. I know some will hide under the Islamic cover to perpetrate their own evil, but I think it's totally it's not right at all. Morally, it's not right. Every child should be allowed to develop his or her skill. Girl child, male child, equal opportunity for everybody.
All right, Ben, you seem to be breaking at a point, but you made mention of how some senators were talking about, but let me just get what the implications are exactly. I mean, because Abimbola had already made mention of some earlier during when we started the hangout. But in your own estimation, what do you think the implications of not passing this bill will be to Nigeria?
No,
negative or positive?
If this bill is being passed into law, especially that area of the constitution where we are yet to define what who an adult should be, I think that is the problem here. We have been unable
then
to.
You're breaking. If you can hear me, you're breaking. Can you come again?
I said we are having problem. First of all, we have not been able to define who an adult should be. At what age should a girl child get married? You see, until we get this thing right, we will still be having this problem. If we make it a punishable offense that no girl child should get married below 18 years of age, I think this will help. But as it is today, we'll still be having underage marriages, 13, 14, 15, as the case may be. But every child should be at least, this is the age where a girl child should be able to go to school, to determine at what point if she will be able to go to university or not. But at this time, we believe 18 is the minimum age. I think if we should look at it by our laws. But now there is a kind of fighting in the house. At what age will a girl get married? And we have not been able to fix that right. So there's a whole lot of confusion with this bill. So until we get it right, and this thing should not be limited to the Senate alone. If we leave it for the Senate, we will still be getting the same result, because majority of the Northerners, they have the power of the vote there. They will not. Majority of them will not support this bill. But we need the country in large to come front and say, no, this is not what you people do. This is what we want, because we can't continue to allow these people to decide the fate of over 140 million Nigerians. And if you look at it, mostly the problem of this early child marriage is mostly in the northern part. They are the one, the high, if you check the percentage, they are the ones there. It's happening mostly in the north. So we are trying to even save them more, save the girl child, so that they can be able to go to school, have equal opportunities to develop their skills, their talent, than subjecting them into a kind of early marriage at the age of 14, 15. They're getting married to someone who is old, and at the end of it, they end up getting divorced. Their life is being useless. These are the things we should also have to look at.
All right, Ben, again, you were breaking, so I couldn't.
Let us be able to fix at what age the girl child should be able to get married. If we don't do that, we will continue to have this kind of a thing in place.
All right, again, Ben, I'll have to ask you to come again because some of the stuff you said didn't really drop through because your internet was not letting you do that. It was kind of breaking, but I was able to configure you talking about Nigeria getting what, or being specific about whom an adult is. Am I right?
Yeah.
All right. So can you just start again from there, please?
Yeah. If we are able to get this right, who an adult should be, because currently an adult should be 18. From 18, you can be able to vote. But when it comes to the issue of a child getting married, a girl child getting married, we don't have a specific age for that. That is where the problem lies, and that is why this bill will continue to go up and down, up and down, up and down. And majority of the people, majority of the Northerners are almost against this bill, especially Senator Yerima being in the front burner of this. So if we don't stand up to speak up and say no, this thing should not happen. I think in some countries, I think he should be persecuted for getting married to a minor. So these are the issues there. So we have to fix this thing. Let the age limit be fixed. No, a girl child cannot get married until 19 years. They will know between the age of 1 to your 19, you should be able to, develop very well academically. You're going to further education. I mean, you should be able to take decisions on your own. But subjecting them 14 years, you're getting married, 15 years, come on. It's not right. That's not fair for us.
All right, very well, Ben. Thanks, Abimbola. Let me just come back to you to react to some of the things that Ben made mention of. Do you agree with him, or you think otherwise? Sorry.
Ben,
Okay. Can you come again, please?
to a large extent, I agree with him that we actually need to define the age where this is really the age of the adult in this country. It does vary, and that is quite confusing. But more than that is the fact that in the north, whom it isn't even the concern about adulthood or consent of age. For them, it goes with the biological changes in a girl child. That once the girl child experiences the first feminine changes of a period, then that means she's eligible to be married. And once she's married, she's deemed as a woman. And like you rightfully said, Senator Yerima, who was against it, who we all know, and we all spoke against when he took a 13-year-old bride. He has been the antagonist in this issue of actually the rights of the girl child in Nigeria. He's become the face of the person we are trying to change his behavioral pattern and thoughts towards the girl child's development. And it was that spoke in favor of Yerima at the House in terms of Adamu Alero and Senator Emmanuel from Bauchi. We also know of their antecedents, as one of them actually declared his two wives. Of course, we've also seen the immaturities in the House in terms of their disregard for the feminine side of women. We've heard Senator Dino Milai, whom I truly have respect for. But when you think the house is the floor where your heart goes in love, these women as objects of ridicule. And I think that those are some of the other things that we're trying to talk about here. That women have their own emotions, we have our own dreams and visions, and if we could give birth to men if we could raise them from child, if we could care about their nourishment, about their mental development, educational growth, aspiration in life, and support them to be whom they want to be, why would you then say we should do this under duress? And one thing I also want to emphasize to the Senate would be, even if we didn't have this legislation, and say women were truly inferior to you, you do not have a right as a human being to actually subject whoever you think is beneath you to disdaining hit to what they want to do in terms of their careers or their visions. And like nobody that has been created wants to come to the world and fold their hands. So I think to a very large extent, consent should be introduced to it, and we should know the age of adults. But one thing that I suspect that gets in the way of national policy has always been the interpretation at state level, which are subnationals. We see other states as sovereign states of their own, and that they've only come together to agree to be Nigeria. So the interpretation in the South may be different from the North. So this is always a problem because the Northerners are interpreting the legislation from their own jurisdiction and their own geographical beliefs and cultural aspects, but that is impinging on the rights of women across the country. So probably we should also be looking at the subnationalities and our sovereignty in terms of our belief system and the right to interpret it as deemed fit in the states. It should be harmonized and we should have one national law. Let's
All
go
right.
back.
Okay, very well. So we'll just be wrapping up now. Ben, let me just hear what you'd like to say just in moving forward. I mean, like closing, like the last word.
Okay,
Okay. I,
my own support here is that I believe that every girl child should have quality education, should be able to go to school. I'm in support of the Child Rights Act. I'm not happy. I will not be happy. I'm sure I'm not even happy each time I come back home and I see a girl child walking on the street. I think we should begin to. We have the laws are there, but we should use our law enforcement agencies to handle these issues where a girl will be walking on the street, don't call for no matter the high rate of poverty we have, but at least we should be able to tackle this problem. We shouldn't allow our girl child to be subjected to this kind of situation. I mean, it's humanization. You child labor, you suffer them, and they don't have time to even enjoy.
All right, we're losing Ben again, but then Ben's submission was going to close the hangout. Thanks again for coming on board, Abimbola Junaid. You are in Lagos, Nigeria, while Ben was calling from Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, actually, in Malaysia. Thank you all once more for coming on board and sharing your thoughts on this contentious matter. It's the channel's new Who Plus Hangout, and I'm Victor Mazai.